Okay, so welcome to, I think, week 5 or 6 now for BIMobject Talks. My name is Matthew Jackson. I'm talking to you from Sweden, our head office. I am British, though. I've been over here for a couple of years now. Been working with BIMobject for a while. But hello to wherever you are in the world. We have a huge breadth of viewers both in European and American continents for this. This morning we did one for the Asian and European continents. So welcome to our talk. A little bit of housekeeping. I will, of course, answer questions at the end. Please ask all questions in the questions box, but they will be held until the end because we're going to keep this as short as possible because you can get on with your busy days. So why are we here? We're here to talk about data on demand. This is a huge topic, actually, so quite difficult to talk about in 15 minutes, but it just gives you a snippet of what we are doing here at BIMobject and how we're working with this area, I suppose. And this kind of goes back to something really important. And at BIMobject, we keep returning to this, and it's build it twice, build it right. We should be building things in the right way inside authoring systems. We know there are still challenges for this. It's not a simple thing, but it's something that we must strive for still, the basics of what BIM is, which is build it twice and build it right. And something which we are talking about a lot is moving away from calling it building information modeling. Modeling just thinks about geometry, and building information management, the management of data, both geometric and, of course, today what we're talking about, which is data sets, classifications, manufactured data, etc., etc. And that's a very key part of what we're doing, and it's a very key part of it being important for everybody and all stakeholders that are based in the industry. So we're going to talk about data sets, and we're going to talk about sets of data and how they are added into the world of BIM objects and the world of BIMobject and our tools that we have. The first thing that I think that we all agree on is that we're being asked for more and more and more data. Geometrically, we are kind of stagnant on how we produce geometry, and of course we are trying to make it as lighter and as cleaner as possible as we move forward. But one thing which is growing astronomically is data. And this is not just data, it's project-specific data. So it's not just data about a chair or an air conditioner or a window. It's also project-specific data that we're now being asked for by clients, by contractors, to include in our projects. But this can be horrendously complicated, both for us as designers and users of authoring softwares, but sometimes it's information that we don't have. We need to get the information from the manufacturers. So how are we going to do this? This is a huge thing for us, and it's a massive challenge. With BIMobject, it's not a problem. It is a challenge because we have to all work together as an industry to resolve this, and there's lots of different stakeholders in the process. But it's a challenge, not a problem, because there is a solution. And the solution from our point of view is this. It's using BIMobject properties. If you've been around with BIMobject for some time, this used to be called BIMobject Open Property Clouds, or BOPs for short. Now we just call it BIMobject Properties, a little rebrand at the end of last year. And to gain access to these tools, these extra tools, you must be using BIMobject apps. Every week, I think this has been a key focus for us. Download our apps. They are free. They are available on BIMobject. They are available for Revit, AutoCAD, ArchiCAD, SketchUp. They are pre-installed into Vectorworks, and very soon they'll be pre-installed into Allplan as well. So the Revit app is the most downloaded app on the Autodesk Exchange Store. So download it. It's the only way that you are going to be able to have data on demand is by using our enhanced tools, which are free for you as users. So what do we do? How does BIMobject work and for properties? And it works like this. We have the ability to have custom data sets to be added into the cloud and to be downloaded from the cloud for the objects. We have kind of separated geometry and data apart. We have geometric clouds and we have data clouds. And we've done this for very, very important reasons. The first reason is this. From a manufacturer's perspective, they make something, but they deliver it regionally. Have you bought a washing machine recently? Because if you have, it's the classic, I buy a washing machine and it has a book the size of a phone directory with 40 different languages in it telling me how it works. And in that industry, when you get a washing machine, that's fine. But we can't do that in our industry. We need to be more smart. So here in the middle, we have a BIM object, and this BIM object is a simple cube, and it has a single set of data in it. But as the industry progresses, and as this manufacturer of this box starts to supply all over the world, we're getting asked for more and more information that's paired along the bottom. So if I did this in the washing machine way, this would happen. I would have to put all the data into the object. Or alternatively, the manufacturer would have to make an object for every single variant, which is not going to happen. There's no way that manufacturers are going to produce hundreds of variants of the same thing. We need to be smart. And by adding lots of data into an object, as we all know this happens, it starts to explode, it starts to fall apart. Some BIM authoring softwares are better than others, but generally speaking, too much data makes it very difficult to control when you want to start moving data out of a model into another system. So the way it should be done is the correct way, and that is to allow you as a user to add data on demand. The object has a basic data set, and when you get to a point, whether it's adding a language, adding classification information, adding FM data, adding data at the right time. So you add it at the right point throughout the process. Now in Europe and in America, we have lots of different LODs and LOIs, lots of different stages. It differs, and it doesn't really matter to us because we will create systems and create sets which allow you to add the data at the right time for whatever country you're in. So first of all, let's do a little demo. And the demonstration is, this is for manufacturers. So if there's any manufacturers there, just to show how easy this is to add data, I'm at the back end of BIMobject. If you're a user, you get a little sneak peek of how the back end looks. And this is how it is. You can add property values on the back end of the product pages. And it's a simple process of adding the data onto the right product page about the product. And once you add this data, it's made available then for all the authoring softwares that we support. You don't have to start adding data sets for an ArchiCAD and for a Revit and for a SketchUp. We worry about that in the back end. You get single source of truth. You just add one data set, and that's delivered to all those products which are attached to that product page. So we do lots of little helpful eyes. Specifically here I'm looking at UK COBE, which is has been borrowed from US COBE for the Marine Corps. And you know, it's just a case of adding the data in, and then that's made available. Importantly, if you don't fill anything in, BIMobject will add default values. Now the reason we do this is that for IFC exports, it makes the data complete. So this is really important. This is a video can be found on our blog, so you can see it there. I'm going to show you now 3 authoring softwares and how you add data into those authoring softwares. I'm going to start with ArchiCAD, then SketchUp, then finally Revit. So this is ArchiCAD. And I'm now using the app, and I'm in the app, and I can see that there's a property set for this shipping container. And it's a COBE set. I'm using COBE here a lot because it's what I'm used to using, and it's what I know about the most. So I've downloaded this already into my system, and you can see that the shipping container is just placed within my model. I have a look at the object selection settings, and you can see here I've got the properties. I think I lost sound there, so apologies. And here we have lots of data sets at the back end of this ArchiCAD object, and what I'm missing is COBE. So now I click on the Properties button on my toolbar, and I locate the properties that I want to add. Quite simple. I found them, and I click Add. And now these properties have been thrown down from the BIMobject Data Cloud into the object. Go back to the parameters, and you can see I now have a UK Kobe set here with some default values as I have stated and some completed values. So really that simple. You just add the data when you need it. And it's exactly the same in SketchUp. We can actually make SketchUp kind of pretty much BIM enabled when it comes to data. So, look at your component options. This is again a shipping container. And you can see we've already got some default values that is happening here. Click on the box button, and again, I can locate what I need and I can add the properties. A little dialog box comes up to tell me that it's working and it's adding the data into the space that I need it. Go back and check my component, and now you'll see that I have some data. Now you can see there's lots of missing bits of data here. It's because I didn't complete it properly. But maybe you can see on your screen there's some that are grayed out and some that are white. Some of this data can be completed by the user. Things like warranty start date, we don't know when that will be, and some of the values are grayed out because they're locked. BIMobject is able to lock parameters in all of the authoring softwares, so the user can or cannot access those, depending upon what the manufacturer wants them to do. So that's also really important as well. And finally, Revit. Revit, of course, is one of the most used BIM softwares in the States, and I'm going to show you the entire process of using the BIMobject tool very, very quickly. So here's the app, and this is great because I don't have to download something and insert it and find it in my browser download folder. If I go here, and you can see there's a data set for this door, what I can do is I can preview these data sets, which is first of all really important. And then next, when I click download, the door will appear on the end of my cursor. None of this inserting and finding things, it's done. Few clicks. This will save you 3 or 4 clicks per object, which doesn't sound like a lot, but when you're doing thousands, it saves you so much time. And you can see in this data, I have no Kobe. I've got a basic data set here from the manufacturer, but the classification data that I need isn't there. So I go to my BIMobject Properties button and I locate what properties I want to add and what are available for this object. And I click here, add properties for what I want. I'm going to add Kobe type here. And this is now again going to add the information into my workflow. Downloads, download complete. And now I can go and have a look to see where these are. Now we create instance parameters as well as type parameters, and these can be locked or unlocked depending upon the classification that's required. If I scroll down, now we have this set of data, and you can see it's full of default values, and some are grayed out because they're locked. So for you, it's that simple, and this information is from the manufacturer. You want to know if this information is up to date? Click the Properties Update button, and it will tell you. And if it's not up to date, we'll push updates into your model. It's a choice, but again, you have knowledge of accuracy of data from the manufacturers into your models. So you can use this tool pretty much anywhere in the process that you feel that you need it, depending upon what the data set is. And very soon BIMobjects will have hundreds and hundreds of data sets, and you'll be able to filter for those very shortly, depending upon where you are. And these data sets can be from having the right language information in your objects, or having the right classification, or having information which is specific to your project. The client or contractor may ask you to add data sets or provide you with data sets which are different for a school or a hospital. So, sky's the limit with this. And this is a slide I've taken from last week, and it's really important to note that, remember, the data which is important to you might not be important to somebody else, or the data that might not be important to you is important to somebody else. So just remember that, data sets are important, and they are important for somebody in the chain of work. So really, really, really important there. And that's how we work with BIMobject Properties and how we work with data sets. So I'm going to ask you guys a quick question. This is always good to see how many people are paying attention. And I'm going to launch this poll. Do you think that our data on demand process is the right way forward? Having that flexibility to add data when it's needed and to have data specific to the country that you work in. So yes, no, still need to know more. We've got blogs on this. Answer the question on screen. I'll give you guys a few more seconds. And this is always really good to know. This is good for me to know if we're going the right way. And if there's, of course, anybody who answers no to this, I'm going to publish the results. Why? Why do you think no? It's always really good to have feedback. So I'll give you 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. I'm going to close the poll and I'm going to share the results on screen. So that's great. 71% of you say yes, 2% say no, 2% give me constructive feedback. Email me, webinars@BIMobject.com, or write questions here. 28% still need to know more. Check out our blogs. This video will be online. I haven't quite finished yet. There's a few more things to say. But I've written two blogs about this. So it's really, really important that we educate you guys more about how this works. Now, what if the information isn't available? Well, as users, you have two areas to go. If the manufacturer doesn't have a sales rep who is responsible for this product page, you can still contact the manufacturer in the red box just under the follow and just say to them, guys, please can you provide to me this data set? And BIMobject, we are helping lots and lots of manufacturers for this. So, we will help them deliver data. If your manufacturer has delivered the sales rep who's responsible for this page, this is for my user in Sweden, for Gilgan, I contact Rolf and I can contact him and go, please provide me this data set. For my user account that's in the UK, I have Roger, please provide me this data set, because in the UK and in Sweden, we have different data requirements in different languages. So this means that the right person can be contacted and we give this information to you as the users. If you're a manufacturer watching this and you don't have this available to you, please contact us and we will make this available. Because it's really important for you users to know who to speak to. So hopefully this will, again, reinforce the message that we are saying that there are so many advantages of using manufacturer-specific content. And by using data on demand, again, it's using that data at the right time rather than from the very, very beginning. And of course, this goes back to having accurate geometry, accurate clearance zones, accurate connections, and of course, what we're talking about here, accurate data. This information is coming from the manufacturers. Manufacturers know their products the best. We, as a design industry, a group of architects, should not be entering this data ourselves. It brings risk. It brings risk to us as architects and designers and engineers. We should be getting this information from manufacturers, and that is really important. So if you've missed any sessions, these are slides from the beginning. We did how to search on BIMobject and then BIMobject and Revit in the second week. Please visit our YouTube channel. We've got a playlist which is all our BIMobject Talks. If you really enjoyed this session, then we've got more coming. Next week, Emil, my colleague, is going to explain to you how to make BIM objects in the cloud. You don't even have to have a copy of Revit or ArchiCAD. You can make system families or objects in the cloud. Really, really simply. And then the week after that is myself talking to manufacturers about optimizing product pages. And then the week after that is I'm going to be talking about Vectorworks and how the Vectorworks toolbar works in that piece of software for BIMobject. So thank you very much for joining us today. I'm going to very soon answer Q&A and then I'll end the recording. So join us on LinkedIn, follow our conversations, follow our debates, follow us on Twitter. We're always tweeting about interesting events that we're at in Europe and in the States. Follow me, CAD for Mac. I'm also very busy running around delivering information to different clients and getting involved on debates on Twitter about BIM and the processes of BIM. And finally, visit our info.bimobject.com/webinars to sign up for more of these talks. So thank you very much for attending from wherever you are in the world. We hope you have a fantastic week here from BIMobject, and please do enjoy using our platform. So thank you very much.